Airbnb, Dropbox, and Instagram all scaled using this one simple principle. Right now, 80% of what you are doing in your startup is barely making a difference. But the other 20%? That is where all of your success is hiding. In this video, I am going to show you how to apply the 80-20 rule to your business, whether you are just starting out with an idea or looking to scale, and use it to find and focus on the actions, customers, and strategies that will actually drive growth. I'm Gina, a marketing director from South London. I've spent the last 16 years building startups from the ground up, from idea to IPO. I am here to help you wherever you are on your journey of building your business. If you are small, if you are starting up, you do not have the time and resources to do everything. But don't worry, because neither did Airbnb, and they are now $1 billion company. In Airbnb's early days, they realized that it was a small percentage of their hosts who are driving the most revenue. Instead of trying to support every listing equally and stretching themselves too thin, they focused on these top performers, their 20%. That is why they introduced the Superhost program. This rewarded and attracted the higher quality hosts. And the result of focusing on this 20%, in 2021 alone, Superhost generated more than $23 billion worth of revenue. They also generated higher guest satisfaction and exponential growth for Airbnb. So focusing on what moves the needle works. But what is the actual 80-20 rule? It's quite simple, really. The 80-20 rule can be applied to anything in your life. It shows that a small percentage of efforts, actions, or customers drive the largest results. It's also commonly known as the Pareto principle. In the late 19th century, Vilfredo Pareto noticed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the people. After this pattern was identified, it has been applied to everything that we do on a daily basis, from exercise to health to learning, but especially to business. This insight has been used by successful startups and businesses to optimize their operations and scale effectively. It is especially important if you are building something by yourself, if you are just starting out, or if you have restrictions around time and money. Focusing 100% of your efforts on the 20% that will grow your business is the only way to succeed. So let me teach you exactly how you can apply it wherever you are in your business. So the first step is to identify that vital few. The first thing you want to do is identify the actions that you are taking as a startup, as a founder. If you are new here, I have built tools and resources to help anybody on their journey. Head over to my site and grab yourself the Notion template for just starting your business, or some of my marketing templates. Because in any business game, you need to know exactly what you're doing in order to measure it and manage it. So the first step is to identify what you are actually doing. Take one of my templates and look at your outputs and look at your products and your customers. Now, do an audit of what is moving the needle. Within your marketing channels, if you are using my templates properly, you will see which channels are driving the highest engagement. You will see what kind of content is getting the best results, and you will see what kind of customer is interacting most. The same with your products. If you don't have this information to hand, I recommend you go and take my Marketing Fundamentals course. If you want a discount or you want to try it for free, drop me a comment in the description and I will give you access, because I'm here to break down the barriers to getting your idea off the ground. But to identify your vital few, you need to spend some time analyzing what you have been doing with your time, with your efforts, and with your business. Get a clear view on what your outputs and results are and narrow it down to the vital few that are making the biggest difference. Secondly, you want to allocate your resources strategically. Once you have run this audit, you will find that there are some BAU things that you simply cannot not do. But the trick to implementing the 80-20 rule is to focus your efforts and energy to where it moves the needle by prioritizing the actions that make the most difference. In this second step, if it is essential as a BAU but not part of the 20% that drives your business forward, you need to look at the lowest effort output you can do in order to keep it going. Founders, startups, small businesses only have a finite amount of resources. After you have done the first step of identifying what is most important, that vital 20%, this second step will see you take your resource allocation, whether that is your time or your team's time, and spread it across the 20% that matter the most, with the lightest touch for what has to be done but doesn't matter. Everything that doesn't have to be done and isn't in your 20%, stop doing. We often have a fear that we're going to be missing out on stuff if we're not doing everything that every other brand is doing. This exercise and the Pareto principle is really helpful for clearing up what matters and what doesn't. In this second step, you should come away with things that you are not going to do anymore and things that you are going to focus on. Now, step 3 is to focus on your best customers. You've applied the 80-20 rule to your business operations, but now you need to identify your top customers. Early on, Dropbox noticed that a very small percentage of their users were referring others to the product. So instead of keeping their referral program as one size fits all, they honed in on this 20% of customers, tailoring it to incentivize these highly engaged users. Not only were Dropbox focusing on what drives the needle for their business, they then took this third step of focusing on their best customers to laser focus in again on where they should be putting their efforts and energy. In this two-layered approach, you are not only maximizing your operations and resources, but you are also drilling down into that 20% of customers who are going to drive the most revenue. And step 4, refine and iterate. As your idea grows, as your business grows, so will your operations. You need to ensure that you are implementing this principle every time you make a business decision or launch a feature. It is so tempting to say yes to every new idea, every new feature, and every new growth opportunity, especially after this focus of the Pareto principle has driven growth for your business. By constantly refining what works and ensuring that you are still focusing on that vital 20%, you will make sure that you are not losing focus and you are still serving that growth segment. Before being bought by Meta, Instagram was a big user of the Pareto principle. Serving their 20% of core users, despite the influx of other social sites, Instagram knew that it wasn't about doing everything that other people were doing. It was about doing something exceptionally well. They applied the Pareto principle and understood that filters and photo editing tools were what was driving the most retention from their core users. By doubling down on this and not getting distracted by other features that other companies were launching, they became the most successful photo sharing app. Being truly successful is about constantly questioning whether you are doing the right thing and constantly reiterating about where you are putting your finite resources. By saving these 4 steps and doing them in a cadence that makes sense for your business, whether that is monthly, quarterly, or every half, you will ensure that you are not just doing what you think works, but you are focusing on what your data and your information is telling you is the most valuable use of your time and your focus. In a world where we do not have enough time, resource, or money, the 80-20 rule is your secret hack to startup success. Instead of trying to do it all, this principle forces you to only focus on what will actually drive results, but it's on you to implement it. If you are just starting out, if you are just building your own thing from scratch, I have tons of free resources, and I am here to keep you accountable. As with everything I teach on this channel, these are incredibly powerful tools and techniques, but you have to continue with them. Figuring out your vital 20% once and then never returning to it won't help move your business. Sticking to it and refining and continuously evolving and focusing on what drives growth will. So head to my website, grab my free startup tools. Alongside your free Notion templates, you can also get accountability from me. Because building a business is hard, but if you do it properly, you will be successful. Please do like, subscribe, let me know in the comments what else you want to learn, and let me know how you got on with finding that vital 20%.